Hello, this is Justice Baxter, man. Welcome back to another video. And if you couldn't tell by the title or by what's on screen right now, today I'm going to be making a tier list ranking the state abbreviations. And I'm gonna be kind of just going off my own head on these, but I'm going to be trying to base this based on how useful the abbreviation is. Like, is it obvious what state it's referring to, or and there's going to be some aspect of my own opinion, and hopefully you'll kind of get what more or less my methodology is for this as we get further into the video. But yeah, just a disclaimer, if you don't like where your state ended up or where I put any other state, I'm trying to do my best here, and I'm trying to make this in a way that makes sense to me. So first of all, we're going to start doing them in alphabetical order based on the state, not the abbreviation. So all the A states, I'm going to say they're slightly, so starting with Alabama, I'll put Alabama in B tier. AL could easily be Alaska. Same thing with Alaska could easily be Arkansas. Arizona could easily be, Arkansas could easily be Arizona. Arizona is the only one that's kind of clear as to what it is. So I'm going to put it at the top of the, A's. But again, still thinking that's kind of, Arizona's cool. I'll put Arizona at an A tier. California, CA, super obvious way to abbreviate California. And you know what? It works. Like, Californians use this abbreviation a lot. And they like being called CA. So, for that reason, I'm going to put California. You know what? I don't personally like California very much, but I think California's a low S tier with that one. Colorado, CO. I might put Colorado above California because CO is a pretty obvious way to, I don't know. It might not be as good as California. I'm going to move it back down just below California. Connecticut. CT. Not a great, I'm not sure what they could do really with it, so I'm going to put it in A tier rather than B tier, but it's just kind of, in my opinion, it's just kind of a lame abbreviation. Delaware, DE. I always forget what Delaware is, to be honest. I don't know. I think DL or even DW would be better. Although, again, I'm not saying that DE isn't an obvious choice for Delaware, and it is the only D state, so it at least isn't confusing. You're not going to see Delaware and think it's Georgia or something. Florida's a... Ooh. I'm going to put Florida in top of A tier because, it's a good abbreviation. There's no other F states. However, there's just nothing, amazing. And you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna take Colorado down a notch as well. California, I still think, just because of the popularity of that abbreviation, I think it should stay in S tier. Georgia. I've never liked J. It's gay. I don't know. I think, you could have you could have done almost anything else and it would have been better. You could have done GE, you could have been GO, you could have done GR, GG, or GI, and it would have been better. Like, and this is again where it's super my opinion, but that's a dumb abbreviation. Hawaii, HI, makes sense. It works. They like this abbreviation. But I'm going to put it in the bottom of A tier just because it looks like a word. The word high. Idaho. Idaho might be bottom of S tier, honestly. Because I've never been confused about what ID means. Now, yes, ID could mean like your actual like ID card. But I just think I just think ID is a great abbreviation for Idaho. Illinois. IL for Illinois. It's not confusing in the way that these ones are. But there's nothing like incredible about it either. I'm going to put it in top of B tier. Indiana. Indiana, again, it's pretty clear what Indiana stands for. However, IN for Indiana. I think the rest of these I states, I'm just going to kind of put together just because there's so many I states, similar to how I did all the A states. Iowa. I've never, like, personally, I don't really like IA for Iowa. I think IO or IW would have been better, but that's just my opinion. Kansas. I've always thought that Kansas should be KA. So, again, it's pretty clear, so I'm going to put it above the A states, but I just don't like it. KY, Kentucky, I do really like KY for Kentucky. Let's put it... I'm going to put it just above Connecticut, I think. LA for Louisiana. Now, LA also stands for Los Angeles, and most people when they hear LA, they're going to think Los Angeles. So I'm going to put it bottom of B tier? No. I don't know. I still think it's better than Georgia, because again, I don't like Georgia. I'm sorry if you're from Georgia. I'm sorry if you like GA for Georgia. I just don't. And it's my tier list. I'm gonna put LA above GA. And ME. Mains is the worst. Because I always forget that ME stands for Maine. I always forget this. MD for Maryland is pretty decent. Again, they're kind of working with a lot of M states, so I'm gonna put it even lower than the... You know what? There's nothing else that could really be MD, so I'm gonna put it above the A states, but MA could be Maine, MA could be Maryland, MA for Massachusetts is pretty confusing. MI for Michigan. MI could be Michigan, it could be Minnesota, it could be Mississippi. So, again, putting it pretty low. Minnesota, MN for Minnesota. Like, if you say MN, you're basically saying Minnesota. So, I'm going to put it above Maryland. And that, again, could just be my opinion. I think it's a really good fit for it. Mississippi, MS for Mississippi is a little bit clearer than I think these two, but it's not as clear as Maryland or Minnesota, in my opinion. MO for Missouri, I always think it's Montana. MT for Montana, probably goes about there. And can I just remind everybody right now that this tier list is only ranking the abbreviations and how well they work, in my opinion. It has nothing to do with the state. So if your state is in D tier, it's not because I think your state is D tier. I think it's just your abbreviation is lame. Nebraska. NE for Nebraska. I think the N's are even worse than the M's because there's just so many N states. And I know there's a lot of M states. I actually don't know which has more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 of each because I forgot to count Maine here. NE, I always think it's going to be one of the new states. And it's not. It's Nebraska. New Hampshire. So I think all the states with 2 words that have 1 letter for each word are actually pretty solid abbreviations for those states. So New Hampshire, New Jersey, Nebraska, New York. I'm going to put those all there because I think that's actually a pretty decent way of doing that, and put North Carolina and North Dakota there as well. Nevada, NV for Nevada. I think Nevada is going to go up here with Maryland and Minnesota. I think I'll put it above Maryland but below Minnesota. Ohio. I've always liked Ohio's abbreviation, and I have got a very big B tier going on here. I'm going to put Ohio in A tier, actually. Right above Arizona, but behind Colorado. Oklahoma. Oklahoma's alright, I guess. Bottom of A tier? I think bottom of A tier is a good place. Oregon. I don't like Oregon as much. Again, I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm not saying there's a better thing it could be. I'm just not a huge fan of it. I'll put it right under Kansas. No. Right under Minnesota. Yeah, I'll put it right under Minnesota. PA for Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is another one of those where I don't know why they picked the first and last letter. They could have done PE, they could have done PN, they could have even done PS and it would have been better. I don't like Pennsylvania, and you know what? I'm gonna stick it right here with Georgia. That's where it belongs. Rhode Island's another one of those that's got 2 words and a letter for each word. I'm gonna put it above all the News and Norths, because there's only 1 R state as well, so it works. South Carolina, South Dakota, we've got a similar situation as we got for all the... But you know what? South Carolina and South Dakota, there's a lot fewer of them than the in-states. So I'm going to put them in bottom of A tier, actually. Tennessee works. Tennessee, you can go right next to Kentucky, where you belong. Texas, there's probably a bit of bias of this, but I genuinely think that TX works so well for Texas. Because it's not going to be TS. It's not going to be TE or TA. It's obviously going to be TX, so the obviousness is there. As far as I know, in fact, let me think real quick. Yeah, Texas is the only state with an X in it as well. And when you're saying it, if you say TX, you're basically saying Texas. And we love this abbreviation. We love the abbreviation TX. So for those reasons, TX goes in top of S tier. And I know I'm probably biased, but I feel bad for Maine right now. What did Maine ever do to deserve this much wrath? Anyways, moving on to Utah. I don't think Maine's even this bad. It's just... Maine just bugs me. It's It's me. It's the word me, and I don't like it. Anyways, moving on to Utah. There's only one U state. But I don't think it has just the appeal that a lot of these A-tier states have. It's not as bad as Indiana, Illinois, those ones, because, again, it's the only U state. It might be better than South Carolina and South Dakota, but I don't think it's better than Oklahoma, so I'll put it right there. Vermont. Oh, Vermont. VT. I think VM would have worked better. I think VE would have worked better. I think it's one of those ones where it's like, it's not like they were limited by the number of V states. So, I'm sorry, Vermont, but I'm gonna have to put you... Again, it works, I think, better than the rest of these ones in C tier, but I still think it's C tier. I don't like it. Virginia works. Virginia isn't... So, you may notice that I'm kind of... I picked on LA, Georgia, and Pennsylvania for the same pattern that Virginia did. But I don't know, I like Virginia better than them. And maybe that's stupid and doesn't make any sense, but I think VA works for Virginia. So I'm going to put it in here somewhere. Right under all the A states. No, right above the A states, I think. I think it goes just because there's fewer V states than A states. Washington. Where do I put Washington? WA. WA works because it's the first two letters. I think Washington will go... Actually, yeah, I think Washington goes bottom of A tier. West Virginia, I don't know. Maybe it's because the W looks like two V's already, and it just looks like a really repetitive... Like, I'm not going to say it doesn't work. It works better than the... It works better than the M states and better than the A... Or, works better than the M states and worse than the A states, I think. I think that's where it goes. WI for Wisconsin. Wisconsin goes... I think Wisconsin works better than WV. In fact, I think it works better than the A states. Wyoming. Wyoming's an interesting one. I kind of like Wyoming. WY. I kind of like that for it. But is it better than Wisconsin? I'm going to say yes, and it's better than Virginia as well. And there we go. That is my final tier list. Again, feel free to yell at me in the comments if you think that you could have done it better. And feel free to make your own tier list, I guess. I feel bad for Maine. I'm gonna put them up with Nebraska. And there's my bloated B tier because I felt too bad putting most of these states in C tier. And I felt too bad even putting anything in D tier. I don't know. And the thing with these tier lists is also once you get a certain way in, you start to rethink the things you've already put in certain tiers when you come to new things, and you're like, oh, this is worse than that, but it feels like it should go in this tier instead. And anyways, point is, this is probably not a perfect tier list, but I think I said what I wanted to about these states and their, well, just about their initials. And yeah, you can probably tell by looking at it that I didn't put a lot of forethought into it, other than that I wanted to put Texas at the top. Anyways, though, with that being said, I want to thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later.